My wife cheated on me. When confronted, she said she did it because she thought I cheated. I didn't give her enough attention. She got swooned by a popular guy at the gym, and other BS excuses. Now, I've handed her the divorce papers. She's begging for another chance, saying, "Don't throw away 10 years like that." I laughed in her face. My wife of 7 years, together 10, cheated on me. I confronted her about it this past weekend, and the reasons she gave are so goddamn ridiculous, I'm still reeling. For some context, I work in emergency services. I'm a paramedic, and that means I'm on call for long hours, sometimes overnight, and often during weekends. Yes, I've had to miss family dinners, date nights, and even some birthdays because someone's life was on the line and I had to be there. It's not a desk job. It's unpredictable, it's stressful, but it's my job. I do it because it pays well, it supports my family, and I genuinely want to help people. My wife always claimed to understand this. So when I found out she was sleeping with some asshole from her gym, some popular guy who apparently every woman had their eyes on, I was furious and heartbroken. I confronted her, asking why she would throw away our family, we have a 5-year-old daughter together, for something so cheap and meaningless. Her first excuse, she thought I was cheating on her. She said I must be messing around with someone else because I was never around. Well, I'm sorry that I have a demanding job. I'm sorry I can't just clock out at 5 p.m. every day and cuddle on the couch. And guess what, if she really suspected something, we could have talked about it. But no, instead she decided to spread her legs for some gym rat who gave her a bit of attention. Then, when I kept pressing her, she rattled off some other bullshit. You weren't present enough. I didn't feel loved. I wasn't getting the attention I needed. Sure, I've been working overtime a lot lately, there was a staffing shortage in our ambulance rotation, and I stepped up so we wouldn't lose coverage in our area. I did that for us, to keep my job stable and money flowing. You want to complain about no attention? How about talking to me like an adult? How about telling me you're feeling neglected? Instead, she decided to hop into bed with some dude who, by her own admission, was popular and well liked, and that somehow justifies her behavior. Then she actually tried to drag a family tragedy into this. She brought up the time, a couple months ago, when one of her cousin's husbands suddenly passed away. It was a freak incident, no one saw it coming, and everyone was devastated. We went over to comfort her cousin and the kids. I was close to that cousin as we grew up together, we're basically siblings. The kids were shattered, they just lost their father, our focus was entirely on them and the grieving widow. Apparently, I hugged the cousin for too long that day, and it was during her, my wife's, birthday week, and we didn't have a big celebration because the family was in mourning. That was her excuse for cheating. She thinks I got too close in a hug to a grieving widow and didn't throw her a big birthday bash because we were dealing with a sudden death in the family. She's blaming that moment for her decision to get revenge on me, on the family. I'm still stunned. She claims I shouldn't be so upset because, in her mind, I started it by being distant. I worked too many hours, I let her feel unloved, I hugged a cousin in mourning for longer than she felt comfortable with. Meanwhile, she's been acting suspicious for months, always glued to her phone, sneaking into other rooms to text, getting defensive if I asked who she was talking to. I noticed the red flags, but I trusted her. I gave her the benefit of the doubt. I actually thought, no, she loves me and our daughter too much to pull something like that. I thought maybe she was just bored at home, reading stuff online, chatting with old friends. Anything but this. But here we are. She cheated. No remorse, just excuses. She's scrambling for any reason to justify what's ultimately just shitty, self-centered behavior. She slept with some guy at the gym, some gym hero who apparently makes women swoon, and wants me to understand her loneliness. She wants to paint herself as a victim. I'm done with that nonsense. I've already contacted a lawyer. I'm looking into my options. We have a daughter, and my priority is protecting her, making sure she's okay. I'm beyond angry. I'm livid. I feel betrayed, used, and humiliated. And I'll be damned if I let her pathetic excuses shift the blame onto me. This is on her. I'm done. Update. First off, thank you to everyone who commented, offered advice, and just showed support in my initial post. I've read through every single comment and private message. I'm a lot calmer now. I realize that I can't afford to run on pure anger. Divorce is a long and sometimes complicated process, and I need to be clear-headed for my daughter's sake. Some of you suggested getting a paternity test for my daughter. Honestly, I never doubted she was mine. She's a spitting image of me, same facial features, same damn nose, but given the circumstances I decided it was worth removing all question marks. The results just came back. She's mine. I won't lie, as certain as I was, seeing it confirmed in black and white was still a relief. I've already filed for divorce. I hired a reputable family law attorney who walked me through what to expect. We're in a no-fault divorce state, so my wife's cheating won't necessarily grant me any special legal advantage in terms of spousal support or asset division. Still, my lawyer advised me on a few key points. Child custody, The goal is typically to do what's in the best interest of the child. Given that I've been a stable provider and my daughter is already here with me, we'll push for primary physical custody. Since I have a demanding job as a paramedic with sometimes odd hours, the lawyer said the court might consider a structured parenting plan, possibly some shared legal custody so we both have input on major decisions. But we'll argue that the home environment I maintain is stable and consistent, especially now that my wife's actions demonstrate questionable judgment. Asset division, we'll aim for an equitable distribution of marital assets. It's not about winning every last thing but ensuring that I'm not taken advantage of. The lawyer said that her infidelity generally won't count against her financially, but will ensure there's a fair division. Alimony/spousal support, this depends on several factors like length of marriage, difference in income, and standard of living. We've been together about a decade. She's been working part-time, so this could be on the table. However, my lawyer will push back strongly against long-term support, especially given her recent behavior and the fact that I've been covering the bulk of expenses. Child support, if I get primary custody, she'll likely owe child support, even if it's a modest amount. The lawyer said that if she's employed or can become employed full-time, that's what we'll request. It's all formula-based in our state. After consulting the lawyer, I told my wife about the divorce filing. She looked completely blindsided. I guess she figured I'd just roll over, swallow the humiliation, and try to work it out. She actually had the nerve to say, "How can you throw away 10 years just like that?" I laughed right in her face. I told her, "I'm throwing it away? You did that yourself when you decided to sleep with someone else and then tried to justify it with some ridiculous excuses." She broke down crying, begging for another chance, repeating her garbage about feeling unloved and me not paying enough attention. I reminded her that she had every opportunity to discuss her feelings like an adult. Hell, we could have done counseling. But she chose cheating. That's on her. I told her to pack her things and leave. I didn't want a scene, especially with our daughter sleeping just down the hall. She finally left and went to her parents' house. That's where things stand now. I'm in our home with my daughter, making arrangements for custody, going through the legal motions, and planning for a future without my wife in it. Our daughter is my top priority, and I'm determined to give her a stable, loving environment. So that's the update. It's not a happy ending, but it's progress. Thanks again to everyone who reached out. I'm moving forward with my life and focusing on what really matters, my child and my own well-being. Relevant comment. How did you find out about your wife's affair? OP, I checked our phone records and found late-night calls and messages that made no sense. I confronted her with what I found, and she finally admitted to it. Final update. I know several of you asked for an update, so here it is, though there's really not a whole lot more to say at this point. After kicking my soon-to-be ex-wife out, she went straight to her parents' house. From what I heard, she tried to spin some sob story about how I was neglectful, possibly cheating, and that's why she slipped up. But her story had more holes than Swiss cheese. Once I talked to her parents directly and gave them a straightforward, consistent explanation, backed up by the facts and timing they already knew about, they realized she was lying through her teeth. My in-laws have been surprisingly supportive of me. They're disappointed in their daughter's actions, and though they still love her, they don't buy her excuses anymore. The divorce is in progress. We're working through the legal system, and it's pretty standard fare. We haven't reached a final settlement yet, but we've set a temporary custody arrangement for our daughter. Since I work as a paramedic with odd hours, I agreed to a schedule that ensures stability for our kid. For now, I have primary physical custody during the weekdays, and my daughter stays with her mom every other weekend. Even though I'm furious at my wife, I'm not trying to strip her of all parental rights. Our daughter deserves a relationship with both parents, assuming no direct harm is done. Financially, the lawyers are still hashing things out. We're dividing assets and figuring out what, if any, support will be owed. Nothing's final yet. But things are settling down. I'm focusing on my daughter, my work, and my own peace of mind. This will be my last update. The dust is settling, and I'm moving forward with my life. I want to thank everyone again for your advice and support.